Welcome to UMSL TV. Joining us today is Chairman of the St. Louis County Republican Central Committee, Bruce Buwalda. Thank you for joining us today.
That's correct. Thank you for the invite.
Rand Paul has recently announced plans for a presidential campaign. He has some controversial ideas that don't fit well with traditional Republican views. He wants to end the war on drugs, restore voting rights to felons, audit the federal government, reduce spending on programs like national defense, remove other programs altogether like the Department of Education. How do you feel about Rand Paul being the Republican nominee if that were to happen?
Right now, I think it's rather unlikely that he has lots of support. But my thought is national defense is the first thing that kind of hits home to me. I spent 21 years in the military.
Recently, Rand Paul has been slammed for his treatment of female reporters Kelly Evans and Savannah Guthrie. Let's take a look.
You once said Iran was not a threat. Now you say it is. You once proposed ending foreign aid to Israel. You now support it, at least for the time being. And you once offered to drastically cut. Once drastically wanted to cut defense spending, and now you want to increase it 16%. So I just wonder if you've mellowed out.
Yeah, why don't you let me explain instead of talking over me, okay?
Senator, I'm sure you know that most of the research on this indicates that these actually cost more money over the long term than they save.
Well, that's
incorrect.
Your plan will be
different?
Let's go back again. Your premise and your question is mistaken, okay? There's
right, but it works that
let me finish.
Hey,
let me finish. Hey, Kelly. Hey,
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Calm down a bit here, Kelly. Let me answer the question. Part of the problem is that you end up having interviews like this where the interview is so slanted and full of distortions that you don't get useful information. I think this is what's bad about TV sometimes. So frankly, I think if we do this again, you need to try to start out with a little more objectivity going into the interview.
Do you feel Rand Paul has a problem with female reporters?
Being confrontational with women in this instance? Not necessarily. I don't know if you're familiar with Megyn Kelly on Fox News, the network channel. Many times I watch her every night along with the other three names. And Megyn has a tendency to not only ask a question of an individual, but turns around and tries to answer it before he can answer and respond to the question. And I think this is what happened in this instance. She was leading into it and trying to develop a certain angle instead of saying, what do you think and what's your answer? And that would have taken care of the problem.
Actually, we have a clip with Megyn Kelly weighing in on that subject. Let's take a look now.
Well, I'll tell you this. Chuck Todd came out and said you have to be careful because you attacked two prominent female interviewers. The Guardian said you were condescending to female reporters, and I, as a female reporter, will say to Chuck Todd in The Guardian, we don't need your help. Savannah Guthrie doesn't need your help. Kelly Evans doesn't need your help. And you are entitled to push back on the interviewer just as much as you would if it were a man. So these male commentators can butt out. We can give as good as we get.
Did you agree with Megyn Kelly?
This time, yes. She did the professional reporter. She didn't try to editorialize at the same time she asked questions. A lot of those questions did require a multi-word response, but she was trying to feed extra questions or portions of the question into the response and kept interrupting. I personally find that rather, I can't say disconcerting, but it causes me to go, what's your agenda here if you're trying to interpret the response of the individual you're interviewing?
Well, I don't think Rand Paul's comments were sexist. I do think that he probably should learn to be more friendly on camera if he wants to win an election next year. That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching.